Hi, I'm Rob Palmatier, one of the co-authors of the book Marketing Strategy Based on First Principles in Data Analytics. Before I get started in this first session, I wanted to spend a minute and talk about first principles and the organizing framework we use in this book. First principles are defined as the foundational concepts or assumptions on which a theory, system, or method is based, just like Newton's laws of gravitational attraction, first laws of thermodynamics. It tries to break it down into the fundamental units. Our premise in this book is that marketing, most of marketing strategy, revolves around solving four problems. And these four problems or issues are first principles. Go through each one of those. The first one, all customers differ, represented by this pie diagram with customers broken into different segments. The idea is that all customers that you deal with are different, and all of our marketing strategy has to deal with addressing these different customers' needs. The second principle we deal with is that all customers change. So not only are they different, kind of inherently different, but over time these customers are moving on what desires and needs they have. So a marketing strategy has to deal with that. The third principle, even if you do the first two completely correct, you solve them, if you will, and you're making lots of sales and profits, competitors will come after you. Competitors are going to react. Every strategy you do, competitors are going to react. So the third principle we have to deal with is recognizing that all competitors will react. The fourth principle that we have to deal with is after we address these three, when we execute our marketing strategies, we have fixed resources. All resources are limited. So we have to manage these resource trade-offs. So our premise is that most of marketing strategy is around solving these four first principles, or these four marketing problems. And so we organize the book and all the frameworks, processes, and analysis tools around solving these four principles. The idea would be you're sitting in a conference room a year or two from now and you have a marketing problem. What you can do is you can write these four principles across the whiteboard and work at how are we addressing each of them. And what we're going to spend as we work through all these different sessions is how best to solve each of these four principles. So our argument is this. First principles approach argues that the market strategy is the pursuit of solutions to four fundamental marketing problems and organizes all the frameworks, processes, and analyses to solve these problems. That's really the essence of taking a first principles approach. Is we say these four are important, so rather than just give you examples and say, oh, look at how this firm made a lot of money, look at how this firm made a lot of example, we're going to try to make it so it's very clear on how to understand these four situations and develop a marketing strategy. So here's a little review, very similar to what I just spoke of. Market principle one is all customers different. We want to manage customer heterogeneity. That's the techniques we're going to show you and how to deal with that problem. The second one is all customers change. And we're going to deal with you, how do you manage customer dynamics? How do you manage customer dynamics? As customers change over time, what do you do? Firms do a lot to solve that problem. Third, all competitors react. And the way we're going to deal with that is we're going to manage our sustainable competitive advantage. And I'll often use an abbreviation for that. I'll call that SCAs. SCAs is sustainable competitive advantage. The idea is, think of a sustainable competitive advantage as building walls around your business, or maybe a moat and walls. You're trying to protect your business because if you're successful, you know competitors are going to come after you. And you want to have some way to repel them. And we're going to talk more. So you know competitors are going to react. This is how you build your barriers. Fourth, after you do all these, you're going to have to make some decisions, and these decisions take money. But you only have a fixed number of resources. So we want to understand, how do you best manage these resource trade-offs? Each one of these is going to be a chapter in the book, and we're going to have a session on it. Now the question might be, well, how do these four fit together? Do you do them all separately, or is there some natural sequence? Well, there is a natural sequence. Here's the picture. And I'm going to walk through this a little bit. You do market principle one. That drives a positioning statement. That positioning statement's used for understanding how you're going to build walls around your business, because your positioning statement tells you who your customers are and how you're competing, so that tells you how to build your walls. It also gives you input into your resource trade-offs. Market principle two on customer dynamics gives you positioning and strategy statements around acquisition, expansion, and retention. This one's for the whole market. This one's for your existing customers only. They also feed into how you're going to build sustainable competitive advantage and how you make resource trade-offs. Out of your sustainable competitive advantage or how all competitors react box, you come out with your BOR strategies. How are you going to use brands, offering relationships to build barriers around your business? All three principles feed into managing resource trade-offs. What comes out of this? Your plans, and that's your SCA. So you can see there is a natural sequence to these. Well, this really concludes the first session, where we looked at kind of an overview of marketing strategy based on the first principles in data analytics, and we did it across all customers differ, customers change, all competitors react, all resources are limited. And that's going to be the organizing framework for all this material. Thank you.